to continue coding our interactive game today. So hopefully you logged into your technology classroom and you went under classwork pages and you checked out today's assignment to see the video on how to add this code to your game. So by the end of today, hopefully what's going to happen is that you open up your code from the last time. So you can say see inside. You have one sprite that moves with the arrow keys. You have a second sprite that falls from the sky randomly. And then today you're going to make them interact with each other. So please watch the video on how to do that. So I'll just quickly do it on here. And just realize that this is going to change to whatever the name of your other sprite is. And hopefully you have it change and then otherwise just be normal. So one way to do that is to change an effect and then declare a graphic effect. This is the very basics of what you can accomplish. So this would be fine. And I'll just run my code so you can see. It might not be the best example because it's not exactly a good color. So you may have to change what effect happens to your animal. So let's see. And how long it happens for. So you might want to mess around and please watch the other video and it will show you maybe the best way to do things. But this is your basic code. You want to know the advanced stuff. So let me show you one other thing that you can do. So this is a code that my son made. He put his face on it. He's playing Harry Potter. If you've ever read the books, you know about Voldemort. And he has himself as a sprite, but he also has a third sprite. And this sprite is following, and it lands up in a specific spot. So let me show you. When I'm able to run this code, Jameson, that character, is able to move up, down, left, and right. But if you notice, this code is saying go to that sprite otherwise. If I hit the space key, what happens? Well, this travels across the screen, correct? And if that happens to touch another one, all these effects take place. So you can see that, yes, this is how to make them interact with each other, but you can get pretty crazy and have it interact and build off on this. So if you would like to add a third sprite, this is how we're going to do it. Okay, are you ready? So you can pause these things and pull off things at any time. I'm going to check out this code. You're going to have a third sprite. So we need to get that because your game has two sprites. So I'm going to bring in a third sprite and perhaps something that will protect the shark, like perhaps a more cowbell. We want this cowbell to follow this character around. So let's do that first. We want that to happen all the time. So we're going to write a code and we're going to say, all right, when the green flag is clicked, I'm going to drag out a forever loop. And we're going to have it doing something if I press the space key and doing something else otherwise. So that's why I'm using this if-else statement. I'm going to go under sensing and I'm going to use the key space pressed and I'm going to leave that as the space button. I'm already using other keys to move this up, down, left, or right. So it's just important it's not one of those keys because we don't want to tell the computer to do two different things at once. So if we're pressing the space key, we want it to glide across the screen. So we know that, right? We want it to glide somewhere. We're not sure exactly where that is yet. We'll figure that out. And otherwise, we want it to go to. So this might be a great way. Instead of here, let's see if this works. Go to a random position. Well, we don't want random. We can actually pick another sprite. So my first sprite is called Dinosaur 3. So now I'm going to run this code. Oops. What happened? The bell is following the dinosaur, but it's right on top of it. So that's why this code does get the job done, but it doesn't do the best job. So I'm going to stop my code, and this is the code that I have a problem with. So instead, I do want it to go to someplace, but I want it to be at a location. So here's what we're going to do. Under operators, we're going to use this addition, and we're going to bring out two of them. I'm not sure if I'm going to need them, so I might as well bring them out. And under sensing, you can actually scroll down, and it says backtrap number of stage. Well, what does that mean? Drag that out, and I know I'm going to need two of them. So instead of the stage, you can have it find a sprite. I want it to find my first sprite, which is called Dinosaur 3, X position. What's cool is I can drag the addition in. I can say, yeah, I want this sprite to go to the X position of this sprite, but it's right on top of it. So I'm going to make it go forward a little bit. We learned yesterday going on the number line to the right is like adding a positive number. So let's try 100. Do you see how now the bell is in front? Because it's going to the position of this pterodactyl plus 100. If I change this to like 300, it goes way over there. So you're going to want to mess around with that number, and you can put it anywhere you want. If we wanted it to be up a little bit higher, perhaps right here, that's where we would add the Y factor in. So we can find the Y factor or position of the dinosaur. I'm going to make my code smaller. And I'm going to say, oh, that looks pretty good, but I could also raise it up a little bit or a little bit lower. So that's pretty good. You can even just leave it. I like that a lot. So now when I run my code, my dinosaur has this bell and it's traveling around. So now I want to throw the bell at the bananas because why not? So I'm going to say, don't glide to this position. I want you just to glide, and I'm going to throw it always to the right. So I definitely want to change my X to be a really big number, like 300. Remember, my X goes to 240, so 300 should throw it off the screen. And again, I can be snazzy, and I can have it find that Y value of my dinosaur and put that in for the Y here. So it's always going to go to the right of my screen, but it's going to line up with my dinosaur. So let's see what that looks like. So again, my bell follows my dinosaur, but when I push the space button, it goes across the screen. It kind of shoots like a laser. If that's not fast enough for you, do you know how you can change it? By changing this glide 1 second. This is how fast it takes. So perhaps 0.1. Let's run our code again and see. It's almost too fast, right? So again, guessing and checking, decimal places matter, but let's see how this affects it. That's pretty good, right? Awesome. So now I'm going to say, hey, when this is touching the bananas, I want the bananas to light up. So on my banana, I can say, when the green flag is clicked, under control, grab out a forever loop, grab out an if else, oops, and say under the sensing, if the bananas are touching the bell, I want the bananas to change color effect. Otherwise, I'm going to clear the effect. So if the bananas are touching the bell, run this code. Otherwise, do nothing. I still have all that super complicated code on my bell, so that's going to follow it around. So let's see if it works. Shoots it. Do you see that when I touch? I'm not very good at this game. But, and then you can set up a counting system later. So you may want to try this code. So again, my darlings, there are different levels of coding. This will get you full credit for the assignment. Just merely having two sprites interact with each other is wonderful. But if you're looking for something more, you can go on to the next page. And I explained how I got this code, and you can tell by the colors So hopefully this will be able to enable you to code something that kind of has like a laser, or in this case, getting cowbells thrown on it. Happy coding, my darlings. I can't wait to see. Please make sure that you save all of the time. File and save now is the most critical thing you can learn. And happy coding. Good luck.